Hi, I'm Jess,
And I'm Matt.
and I can't believe we haven't seen Sinners.
Yeah, we held off a really long time.
Which is funny because it's the most recent movie we've seen in this podcast.
I know. Are you more of a smoke person or a stack person?
Probably Stack.
Yeah, that's probably fair. He's a little more of a smartass.
I am a lot of a smartass. You probably more smoke.
Yeah.
Stoic? Get shit done? That's you.
I feel like I might be more of a Delta Slim, maybe, at times.
Yeah, sometimes
Wisecracking Delroy Lindo.
Sometimes I'm cornbread, but here we are.
There we go. So welcome to, I can't believe you haven't seen episode 20. Big deal. We got to 20 whole episodes.
And people keep listening, so
Somehow.
thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. By the time this goes out, we may actually have hit 1,000 downloads, which is wild.
And it's funny because there are some podcasts that get that probably in the first hour of any episode, but for us, it's like, hey, this is a 2-person show.
That's right.
Literally,
Gotta
all the way
build it up.
through.
That's right.
And it's just fun for us to do. So thanks for joining us in these adventures, because this is conversations we'd have anyway. So
Yeah.
It's fun to have folks along for the ride.
Except we delay it slightly. I feel like when we do this, we watch the movie and wait a day or two, and then we're just like slightly walking on eggshells.
I mean, it lets me gather my thoughts. Though I will say, we were at a shindig last evening after having watched this movie.
Yep.
And it came up that you and I had watched this one for the pod, and
Yeah.
our one dear friend said to me, "This movie's so good." And I was like, "You cannot speak to me about it right now.
We're all guarded about it. Yeah.
I can't have ideas. Don't let me do it." And then our other friend hadn't seen it and said, "It's fine. I don't mind if there's spoilers." And the original friend A and I both went, No, you need to watch it."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we saved it knowing we had an episode around now, and obviously the Oscars have gone by, and it was a big deal, and it's been out like a full calendar year almost
Over now, yeah.
And we've had the 4K for like 5-6 months at this point, just waiting there, being like, oh, it'd be fun to do an episode 20, and it was like, oh, that's like 4 episodes
It
away.
felt so long. And the Oscars weren't that long ago, but they feel like they were forever ago. Listen, I'll let you do your spiel, because you're gonna.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of thoughts. I think we both do, which is
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
It was worth the wait.
It was, yeah. And this is probably at this point in 2026 a movie that doesn't need a whole lot of introduction. This is, like you mentioned, the newest movie we've done, and coming out a year ago, 2025. Written and directed by Ryan Coogler.
God, he's so good.
Longtime collaborator with the main star ×2 in this movie, Michael B. Jordan, playing Smoke and Stack, the twin brothers. Also starring Miles Caton, Haley Steinfeld, Wunmi Masaku, Delroy Lindo, Jack O'Connell, all sorts of other people, as well as a lot of very memorable roles, even in small parts in this movie. This made a lot of history, like I said a month ago at the Oscars. It is officially now the most nominated film of all time, with 16 Oscar nominations. Very well deserved. It did win 4 of them. It won one of the big ones, Best Actor, for Michael B. Jordan. It won Best Original Screenplay for Ryan Coogler. It won Best Original Score for Ludwig Göransson.
No question.
And help of a whole bunch of other people. And it won Best Cinematography, which was a big deal because it was the first female cinematographer to ever win that award.
Yeah.
For Autumn Durald Arkapow. And that's a big deal. I actually watched a few interviews with her leading up to the Oscars, and she's incredibly talented, and that was a really fun award to see happen that night. So
Yeah, she's incredible. This movie's incredible. Ryan Coogler deserves all of it. And I'm going to be real honest with you. If you are nominated for Best Actor and you play 2 lead roles and you don't win, something's gone wrong.
that's happened a couple of times.
It's gone wrong.
There is one that I think it also went wrong in the late 80s. That Jeremy Irons was nominated for a David Cronenberg film for Dead Ringers, playing twins that are also like genius gynecologists. it's a Cronenberg movie.
Yeah,
it's probably not your
less.
jam, but like
Yeah.
he actually gives a really incredible performance as the twins, because at parts of that movie, like, the twins are impersonating each other at different points, and you can tell when he is like this twin impersonating the other twin.
That
like,
hurts my brain.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons is super talented. Michael B.
mean
Jordan is super
Scar?
talented. Scar,
Yeah.
yes.
No, Michael B. Jordan, incredibly talented. Ryan Coogler had like a home run from the first moment
Yeah.
of this movie. Well done to everybody, and maybe the place to start. But
That's what we think of it. Podcast over.
yeah,
Thanks
done.
for listening,
It was
everyone.
great. You should watch it. I mean, all of that's true.
Yeah.
We talked about Michael B. Jordan really quick. I think the casting on this movie is fucking phenomenal.
Yes, and it was also nominated in the new casting award at the Oscars this year.
There's not a single role where I think, that could have been played better by somebody else, or that maybe wasn't the best choice.
Yeah.
One I want to call out in particular is Haley Steinfeld.
Yes.
Because that's a tough role. The role of Mary, I mean, they're all tough roles, let's be real. But Mary is a black woman who passes for white because she's so light-skinned,
Yeah.
which I think is also true of Haley Steinfeld.
Could be, I'm not sure.
I looked that up. Her mother is African American, and oh darn, I did the research on this.
Yeah.
Haley Steinfeld is, I think, has a similar sort of backstory
Right.
as far as family history, and I need to go look it up again to
Yeah.
make sure I have all the info, so I don't want to say anything wrong here. But incredible,
Yeah.
because there's something to be said about the balance of those two different things, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And she's the one of the love interests for the twins, the other one being Wunmi Musaku. Very interestingly, watching this movie, you would never know. Wunmi is British.
What?
She really does not. That is not her voice. She is putting on the American accent.
She's so good.
Yeah,
not
she's
just the
very, very
American accent, the American South.
South, and like a little bit of Cajun, probably Haitian influence based on her character and some of the
And
sort
the
of voodoo
Louisiana,
background.
Louisiana,
Yeah.
and the Mississippi, because they're in the Delta. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of very distinctive regional accents that happen.
There's a lot of great casting. The one that for me, and I had sort of known this a little bit from all of the hype and knowing a few things about the movie, was Sammy.
Yeah, he's
Miles
so
Caton.
good.
Okay, I'm gonna play a little game with you. I don't know if you've looked anything up.
I haven't actually, which
Okay.
is weird for me.
How old do you think Miles Caton is?
Oh no, we're not playing this game because I'm gonna be very bad at it. 45.
Sammy.
I know.
The
I
son
don't
of the
actually
preacher.
know. No, I give you a wrong answer because
Yeah.
I don't want to play your game.
21.
I was gonna say he's young.
He is young, and if you like his singing voice, he does not have the singing voice of a 21-year-old.
He doesn't have the acting chops of a 21-year-old. He's incredible.
Not only that, this is Miles Caton's first
role?
movie.
Yeah.
He has not yet starred in anything since. He is a musician as well. He is the one actually singing the songs. He helped do the guitar in most of the other songs, the pedal steel stuff that he's playing. Yeah, he is insanely talented. That is the find of a century kind of stuff.
I love it. Yeah, he was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was young. I just wasn't sure if you were messing with me.
No, it's born in 2005 to make us all feel real old and crumble away to dust.
I was gonna say my gray hair just started hurting.
Yeah. Okay, we've rambled, and I don't know exactly how we want to start and structure this.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like we just did.
We kind of did.
Step one for me was to talk casting. So
yeah.
What's your favorite part? What do you want to talk about next?
Yeah.
I'll throw it to you.
No, it's most of my notes that I made are pretty much in order, and we can jump around as much as we want with this one. It's so as a story, it takes place, like you said, I think in Mississippi near the border to Arkansas. They talk about the Carolinas, it sort of somewhere in there, and I didn't look up exactly where it is, even though they do call it out. And it takes place in 1932, so this is just a few years removed from the stock market crash and the Dust Bowl, Great Depression, sort of. So that's that is in the rear view, even though everybody's still feeling the pinch for that. You can see it in the way that people are like paying for stuff in the small town. People are still using like wooden nickels and some of the like local cotton gin, like local industry money. I don't know exactly what they refer to it as, but it sort of takes place in that, in between the two world wars, which is going to come in at a certain point. And you have these two characters that Michael B. Jordan plays, the twins, that are coming back to their hometown in Mississippi, and immediately they're there to purchase a building and want to start a juke joint. And the first note I have in there is from that point where they're talking to the white man that they're going to be purchasing the old mill from, and they hand him the sack of money that the white guy is like, oh my god, you actually have this much money. And they immediately say, if any of your clan boys come on the property, we are shooting.
Yeah, we'll shoot them dead on sight.
And the guy
clan doesn't exist anymore.
The clan don't exist anymore. And it's like, aha, yes. And it still currently doesn't exist, and that's definitely a real thing.
I think I said, clan don't exist no more. Sure, bro.
Yeah. So again, anytime you like are setting a story in this part of the United States through this part of history and even going further, you're going to have that as like an overtone, an undertone, a tone that's always there.
I think the clan don't exist no more. Sure, bro is still appropriate today, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, unfortunately. Not maybe in all the states it may be used to, but and we don't live in the United States, so we don't have that lived experience from being down there. But so yeah, that's kind of where it starts, and where things sort of get going will be something that the movie comes back to. But the next part that I had in talking was when, again, the brothers are sort of getting things together to get this juke joint set up, because they want to get it set up that night.
Yeah, talk about quick.
Yeah.
Way to go, team.
They don't mess around. I guess he didn't really need much. They're like, we already have all the beer and the roulette tables and everything else with us on the like truck they stashed away. And so like, oh, we want to get it going tonight. So they go to their friends in town that run the competing stores, which I thought was hilarious.
I actually have an interesting note about that, but we'll come back to that in a second.
Yeah. And as they're going through it, you understand a few things about maybe who Smoke and Stack are at that point, where they immediately like are getting robbed by a couple of people in town, and he goes and shoots both of them immediately.
But doesn't kill them. Like, doesn't shoot to kill. Just shoots to be like, I learn a lesson. Don't steal from us.
In the butt and in the knee. And as part of that, you figure out that they used to work for Al Capone.
Yes.
And so then that again tells you a certain thing about like, so they're coming back to Mississippi, but they've been in Chicago working for Capone.
Yeah, and there's a lot of surprise by varying characters in the beginning that they're back at all. Mm-hmm. Well, you thought you were too good for the Delta, you left this place, you went back to Chicago, did the wind blow you back? Like all this sort of, you boys left because, you know, we think you're too big for your britches, but now you've come back, which is an interesting sort of narrative in the way that works.
Yes.
But also, as you're learning, and you kind of get some of that at that point too, and you learn it later, is that they were also soldiers in World War I.
Yes, and I do want to touch on that a bit later, because that doesn't come around until really later.
It kind of gets hinted at, but you don't really know it to be certain until later in the movie. And
I think it's a clever little, like, there's breadcrumbs there that you don't necessarily know about, but the one, like, when they do go around and hear from all these things, the like one of many themes woven in through this movie is the idea of the small townisms. Yeah. And the like we've mentioned before, I think probably on Steel Magnolias and maybe on some other episodes.
We're both from small towns.
Yeah, so there's a certain amount of like understanding the small town trap of it all in a lot of ways, and that you have people that are like happy to see them. Like, I think the shopkeeper and his wife are pretty happy
Bo and
to
Grace,
see them.
they're pretty okay. Yeah.
There are a few other people that kind of quickly come around, whether it's Mary, who is angry, but eventually kind of comes around to being happy that Stack is back. And I'm trying to remember Wunmi Mosaku's character name.
Annie.
Annie. she also is a little bit like miffed, but gets over it rather quickly to have some sexy times in her shop, which is great. But also just more of like a, I don't know if it's relief.
I think it depends on the character. I think for Annie, it's relief because she does say she's been praying every single day to keep Smoke and that idiot brother, that's not the word she uses, but that's kind of the implication, of yours alive while you're gone. And that's where you learn that they've been in the war. I think that's the first time that you really learn they were soldiers, because she talks about them being in war. Or at least that's maybe the first time I recognized it.
Yeah.
And again, now that you go back and look at it, there were breadcrumbs earlier, but I think that was the defining moment where I went, oh shit, they were in World War I.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure when that part of it was going, whether they meant like the gang wars in Chicago, like the really famous stuff with Al Capone taking over.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because it's not super explicitly put in there that they were soldiers in World War I yet. And when that happens, I'm like, oh, we hear the Capone and we hear the, oh, you went to war. And it's like, oh, is it the gang war?
And it's funny because I don't think I read it that way at all. I went directly to like what actual war, maybe because small town folks wouldn't necessarily have described gang violence as gang wars.
That's fair.
The way that the Chicagoites probably would have. Chicagoans?
Yeah.
That's a fun sound bit for later.
Yeah. And the only reason I wonder that is because at that point in time, everybody around the world knew about the Capone stuff.
Yeah,
because
I mean, fair.
He was the most famous gangster in the world. And they mostly knew it by the newspapers that would sensationalize a lot of stuff.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, it's gang war with Capone and whoever he was fighting against.
It's very possible, but anyway. Yeah, either way.
No, and then a lot of the small town sort of like, you left, you were too good for us, why'd you come back?
And you said you're not sure if it's like happy or sad. I think for Annie, it's relief. I think for Mary, it's rage.
Yeah.
Because she had a very different experience. Smoke left Annie, I think, partly because he had to, for whatever reason, things we know now, and partly because of grief, because they lost a little one, right? Whereas Stack left Mary, again, sort of, I think, similar reasons. And Annie, I think Annie understood why Smoke left. I don't think Mary got it.
That's fair, and it does kind of beg the backstory, and I like the movie doesn't go into it, because it just lets you infer. But you sort of wonder if maybe signing up for the war effort was what Smoke wanted to do to get away from the pain of losing a little one, and Stack he's like, well, I can't do it without you. They say that many times through the movie. And I almost wonder if it's like Stack knew he needed to get out and he wouldn't have gone without him, or he would have and been lost or not felt like.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I think Stack wanted to go too, because you get that he wanted to leave Mary. She's white passing.
Yeah.
She could absolutely have, and she married a white husband, right? She's off and running. She's going to be fine, because life is not okay for black folks at this. I mean, it's not okay for black folks, period, at this point in history either. Yeah. But at the point this movie is set, it's not. Ryan Coogler does an incredible job of showing, not telling, and letting you infer or figure it out on your own.
Yes.
And I'm so impressed with a movie that doesn't have to fucking spoon feed me everything.
Yeah. And there's a lot in the movie, too. Like
there's so much in the movie, but there's so much not in the movie that's in the movie. Like, it's so well done narratively.
Yeah. Even just little, like, the breadcrumb trails of certain things. And when we watched it, you made me go back to the very beginning again.
Yes.
Which I knew why, because there's the voiceover, which doesn't really happen in the movie except for 2 times. The very first minute in talking about the legends of the musicians that bring about like spiritual awakenings and things, and the 3 cultures they call out is the Choctaw, the Irish, and the West African.
Yeah, and I wanted to go back and just make sure I had Choctaw correct. That was why I was.
And there's the breadcrumbs of that in this movie, obviously with most of the characters being African-American having the ties. The antagonistic characters we'll get into being of Irish descent, and then the people that are chasing the one Irish man being Choctaw.
Yeah.
And
then the sun goes down. They're like, we got to get the hell out of here.
Exactly. And so you get the trails, and, obviously, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, but even if you haven't seen it, you probably know that this is a vampire movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, but also, stop now.
Yeah.
Stop now and go watch it. Come back to us.
So it's it's dropped pretty early on that there is like the white character, Jack O'Connell, comes to that he's being like chased by the Choctaw, who at that point in time, you also have the history of America, of the conflicts between the white settlers and the indigenous folks.
Yeah.
So that kind of fits in with that. And this man is trying to seek shelter in these other a white couple's place, who we see, have a white clan hood in their place. And he asked to come in to get away from the Choctaw that are chasing him. They invite him in, which is going to be a big part of the vampire mythos and going through the rest of the movie. And then, he's also like burned. It's almost like, oh my God, they were branding him or burning him. But you realize later that it's like, no, the sun's up, so his skin is burning because he's a vampire. So there's this wonderful kind of breadcrumb trail in a lot of different themes, that being just one of them.
Yeah, this movie does a really great job of giving you a lot of, relying on a lot of history. So, like you said, you understand the history of white folks with indigenous folks in America. And in Canada, let's be very clear.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
North America, not only here, but we'll go with that. You have the history of the Klan.
Yep.
And the treatment of black folk, particularly the enslavement of black folks. You see them picking cotton. It's the American South in the 30s.
Yep.
100%. You have all that history without them having to say to you, hey, we're really shitty to black people.
Yeah. And you also get the history, too,
or indigenous folks, let's be clear.
And you also do get the history of the changing times with the, you see the different types of vehicles, even just in cars, where there's, the one Sammy drives that's his father's car is the really thin tires, the smaller sort of Model T jalopy type of thing. And then you have the truck that the brothers have stashed away with all of their stuff. And it's a big loader. It's clearly come from the north, from Chicago with them, where it's we've advanced the technology. The gun that they have, the handgun, is very, very modern compared to what other folks would have, whether it's shotguns that the clans couple have. It also shows that point of technology's moving very fast. It moved a lot slower in Mississippi than it did in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything moves a little slower in the South, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's a very interesting time in the world for that, because there was real disparity between where you lived and what technology and what advancements you had.
Still true.
Yeah.
Just on a global scale, perhaps, more than a microcosm of the U.S. But,
yeah,
and it relies on, and again, it's the breadcrumbing thing you're talking about. The movie relies on you knowing mythos of vampires as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be honest with you. I know vampire mythology.
Yeah.
No question. There's a lot of vampire movies that I love, and there are others, looking at you, Twilight, that are stupid, and I hate them.
No sparkly vampires in this one. Sparkly Irish people? Is that a thing?
Nobody knows me. Well, that's not true. Some of you who are listening to this know me, but you can imagine the expression I'm making if you do. If you can't, know that it's great.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick up on him having to be invited into the clan couple.
Yeah.
Into Hogwood's nephews. Mm-hmm. I didn't pick up on him having to be invited until later in the movie.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to me. I was like, something's wrong about this guy, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
And even when he turns out to be the vampire and you can see what's happening. Mm-hmm. Also, I feel a little bad for that poor woman. I mean, I say poor woman. She's also a racist, so fuck her. But where she's looking for her husband and it's like, oh, don't worry about it. He's just resting. No. And you're all vampires now. But I didn't clue in at first.
Yeah.
They have to be invited inside.
Mm-hmm. And I think that scene's really set up well, because you do have his skin burning, but you don't know why, and that's not the first leap that you make. You
it's not the first thing you go to.
Somebody's been torturing him or whatever, and he's just he's also playing on the southern hospitality,
100%.
invite me in, kind of like, it's just like, can I please come in and hide out? Like, I'm not just gonna barge in because that would be impolite, even though these people are trying to kill me. Like, it's playing on the stereotype of the hospitality you would get, and just being polite about it, rather than just, I mean, if he could have just run in there if he was anybody else, but
Yeah.
you go like, oh, they do that, and then when it turns to be the vampire turn, it's like, okay, yeah, that's where this mythos comes in, and you then know as an audience, it's like, right, that's the thing. Now I know to understand that, pay attention to it, which will come in later on with the tension as it builds at the juke joint.
Totally.
Yeah, it's really well done. It also, again, does... this movie, I think one of the biggest things about it is how it plays on the idea of culture in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. In certain ways, how culture impacts community and people, and in a lot of ways, like the global perception of certain things and spirituality perception of certain things. Like, it really does look at culture of the South, culture of African Americans, culture of blues music,
rough thing that,
culture of the Irish people, like, they think we'll get to that at some point, I know.
I mean, we can jump, we don't have to go chronologically to explain the movie.
No, that's true.
That's not the point of this.
I think maybe a big overarching tone that's good to talk about early, because it does bleed into everything, is the music in particular.
Oh, the music and the sound, just together.
Yes.
Is such a big deal. My very first note is the sound of matches.
Mm-hmm.
So they do a really great job with, like, the sound design on this movie is incredible, as well as the music. And I mean, for a movie that's about a juke joint in the American South in the 30s, you'd expect the music to be good.
Yeah.
But it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy's incredible.
Yes.
This guitar's amazing. But the sound of matches, because they're smokestack. They're always smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always smoking.
Rolling their own cigarettes.
They're rolling their own cigarettes. You got a cigarette. There's always a cigarette being passed back and forth. And the sound of the match is prevalent throughout. And almost like marks when things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And the one thing I said the use of sound, and sound is memory.
Yes.
So... it's almost like its own character, memory and sound. And I think memory is a big deal in this one, because everybody has a long memory.
Yeah.
And you know what might happen, right? But there's this one moment where Slim is telling a story, because they drive by the chain gang, essentially. And he stands up and yells at the folks, like, in
Delta
solidarity.
Slim does, yeah.
Delta Slim, in solidarity. And someone gets shot at. They're all fine, but they get shot at to go back to working. And Sammy, who's riding in the car with Stack, and Delta Slim says, something about, like, you knew somebody.
Did you know that one?
You knew that one? And he goes, well, I've lost ones like them.
Yeah, when he said, I knew all of them.
I knew all of them, and then follows up with, like, I lost one. And tells the story of he and a friend of his having legitimately made money doing music.
Yeah.
See, music comes back. And his friend decided he was going to leave and bought a train ticket. But he had all this money from the rich white folks in his pockets. And they found it and decided, they made up a story about how he'd mugged a white man and he was lynched right there. Which is fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
It's not just horrifying for the viewer because you can picture in your head. It's horrifying because you get to hear it.
Yeah.
Slim is talking, and underneath him are the sounds of this whole scene happening.
Yep.
Including the lynching.
Yep.
It's so powerful and so disturbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very, and like, they use sound, like you said, in the way of memory. I think that also, and it goes on in quite a few different places in the movie. There is always like a little bit of a tone and a beat to the score, which is common in a movie. But with this one, like early on when they're getting the juke joint together, like they go to Sammy, who is their cousin, who they know is a musician, has grown up. He has the guitar that they gave him. And, they know Delta Slim. They know that he's a seasoned professional, that like that's how they're going to get people in to make money. And so the beat that's going through is always this this very bluesy kind of beat, and a lot of the sounds go with that. And it's memories of the people, but I think it's also like echoes through the culture.
Echoes through history at that point.
Yeah, and there is, I think, probably the incredibly famous scene at this point that they recreated at the Oscars for the Best Original Song is when they go through that scene in the juke joint where Sammy gets up with the guitar and does "I Lied to You," which is, then they have the incredibly surreal moment where through the echoes of the next 6-7 decades of culture of black music, you have the hip hop dancers and the DJ, you have the funk band, he looks like the guy's in Parliament or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
You have the other singers that are just popping in as imaginations or again echoes of what this type of music would influence. And that's blues music, right? The blues music has gone on to influence everything in North America and otherwise, definitely throughout the world. And that's where you see that idea. And Slim said that he's white folks love the blues just fine, they just don't love the people that make it.
Yes.
And that's one of the echoes of history. People that would listen to the White Stripes don't necessarily know B.B. King and Muddy Waters and Buddy Guy, who we're going to talk about at some point from this movie. But Jack White learned from a lot of the music that he listened to of these people, but most people that would listen to it don't necessarily dive into what the blues meant and how influential it was.
Well, and that scene isn't just echoes of the future, or isn't ripples of the future, it's echoes of the past. So in the beginning, and it's Annie's voiceover.
Yes.
The only one who does hoodoo. Interesting.
Yeah.
Who says, there's legends of a musician who can open the gate or the portal or break the barrier between the living and the dead, basically. Yeah. And call spirits from the future and from the past. And in that scene, you see these guys that are the future of black music in general. You also see the history.
Yeah.
You see the sort of traditional dancers and the sort of all the things that led up to blues and all the things that were spawned from blues.
Yep.
And again, things that you would only pick up on. I mean, not only because it's there, but this is another instance for me of the movie being hey, here's the thing you need to pay attention to, but you fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
If you don't have the history, you go find the history. I'm not going to give it all to you.
Yep. Because that scene on its face is not that the movie's not weird, but that's a real weird scene. If you're trying to pitch that scene to somebody when you've written this and you're just wait, what is this scene doing in the middle of this?
Yeah, it's a pretty weird scene.
Yeah, but it's great, and it works because that is the tone that's set for the movie, is that idea of music that can be call upon people of the past, people of the future. And you're right, you get the indigenous dancers in that scene. You get the kabuki performers in that scene. You get the ballet dancer in that scene. You get everything. And it just is, it's so wild. And then it also is followed up by the roof burning in the place, and it's just this imaginary, we don't need no water, let the motherfucker burn kind of thing. Hilariously, with Cornbread still manning the door, even though everything is burned down. You're seeing the metaphorical of what's going on in this spiritual calling that Sammy clearly has.
Yeah.
And it's manifest in that visual moment before it goes back to
what
reality.
It is.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's an incredible scene.
Yes. It's also just a great song. It's written, Raphael Sadiq wrote it, pretty legendary,
not surprised you have all these
R&B
details.
performer. Ludwig Göransson as well was involved with that, and he's even though he's Swedish or Icelandic. I think he's Swedish, but like he's worked with Ryan Coogler. He's worked with a lot of different directors over the last number of years. Like he is incredibly well versed in blues music. He was one of the other guitar players along with Miles Caton
cool.
and Catfish Ingram, who did like the guitar work through most of the film. And yeah, like it's this great, encapsulation of culture through a spiritual lens and through a lens that like influence those different cultures in different ways. And also influences, shows the same influence with the Irish folklore when it comes to the vampires. Because you do get the moments where the juke joint is hopping and, the now 3 vampires after he's turned the
clans
the
couple.
clans couple, they walk up with some instruments of their own, a banjo, a fiddle, a guitar, and they're just they're wanting to come in, and we've got money to spend, and Cornbread's a little suspicious because like
white folks don't
what are
belong
you
here.
white folks coming? Like we know Mary, she's family from before,
And she's not white.
yeah, so she's there and she's come on her own volition and they know her. But they're like, these folks were like suspicious. Like there's places in town that normally the white people would go, why are you here? So their back's immediately up. But they've got their instruments and they said, well, we heard there was music going on. We wanted to play music. And they go on to play a really like very lovely but very kind of, Irish folk
Folky,
indebted song with fiddle and banjo and guitar, which is like, I love the lyrics of it because the lyrics are foreshadowing about picking a man clean. I'm like, wow, this is a vampire song if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, yikes.
And then like later on as things go on in the juke joint and they've still not been invited in, but they're waiting to pounce on anybody that leaves or be invited in. And they're like, again, singing a lot of very traditional Celtic folk tunes. At one point, the main vampire is doing like his best Riverdance impression. Michael Flatley, eat your heart out. But like,
Riverdance.
This film doesn't treat only one culture as the thing. It like very clearly has respect for the Celtic traditions as well. And in linking those at the early going of like the belief systems of these 3 groups of people, you kind of mirror each other, like a lot of spiritual or religious beliefs have mirrors of each other in them. I like that it's like these both exist and are both treated with a lot of respect, even when one group of people is vampires and the other are not. There is still like, yes, they're bad guys, but they're not a joke. They're not.
They're not the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be written off.
And even though they are sort of evil incarnate, the culture is not treated as evil incarnate.
Yeah, the culture's not the problem. It's this individual bad guy.
Yeah.
Interesting as you talk about music, and I think we're ready to move on from that, but I just had one thought.
Yeah.
The difference between the Irish music and the music that's happening in the juke joint. And I had a note, and it's maybe true, it's maybe not, but I just have to find where I put it now. It was great, because they're talking about, I just think it's funny the vampires are white, because white people music ain't got no soul. Right?
Yeah.
Like the difference between the soul of, and when Sammy sings and he opens that sort of breaks the veil is the word they use.
Yeah.
Or the phrase they use when he breaks the veil between the living and the dead. That doesn't seem to be something that the white folks can do.
Yeah.
Necessarily. And I mean, they can, clearly Irish, that's a thing. But yeah, it's just funny to see the difference in their like really lovely, folksy vampire song and all the music that's happening in the juke.
Yeah. And it's a metaphor for the history of music. Like, look how much music made by white people was influenced by black music, and for many, many years a lot of the credit or influence wasn't given for it. 100%. So it's like it's the vampires leeching off of, in this case, the group of black people. So
in many ways,
sometimes literally.
Well, yeah. Yeah. There is something I wanted to kind of pick up on, and we talked sound and we talked music.
Mm-hmm.
And you've talked a little bit about the two cultures. And the Choctaw appear.
Yep.
They don't get nearly as much, I'd say, airtime,
Mm-hmm.
because they're the smart ones who got the hell out before they got turned into vampires.
Yep.
That doesn't, they're still treated with respect. You just
Mm-hmm.
don't get as much out of that story.
Yes.
But they serve a purpose. That's why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of doubling
Yes.
in this movie. Obviously, the twins. At one point, somebody says, "You boys twins," and they said, "No, we're cousins." I think I wrote, "You moron." But there's the twins.
Mm-hmm.
There's the two general stores. You've mentioned that Bo and Grace. I can't remember their last name now, but Bo and Grace are the husband and wife, the Chinese husband and wife who own both of them across the road from each other.
Yeah.
Ha ha! If that's not capitalism now.
Yeah.
But you've got the doubling of that. You've got the doubling of the twins. You've got the doubling of excuse me, or even like the comparisons of the cities in the states, right?
Yep.
Chicago and Mississippi. There's the two places they talk about all the time. You never see Chicago, but one of them says, "Don't worry about it. Chicago ain't nothing but Mississippi with taller buildings."
Yeah.
So they're the same but different. The twins the same but different. These stores the same ostensibly but different. And religion.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, because you have Sammy's dad. Sammy's called Preacher's son for a reason.
Yeah.
And what that looks like. And you've got Annie's hoodoo.
Yeah.
And this ongoing sort of, and I'm going to say the Irish and the West African culture. And the Choctaw are included here, but because this movie doesn't focus on them nearly as much, when we talk about the doubling, I think it's there too.
Yeah.
Everything is related.
Yep.
There's two of everything, but they don't exist without the other. And that's something that gets said so often from Smoke and Stack. I can't do it without you. I can't be without you. I don't do this without you.
Mm-hmm.
They can't live without each other.
Yep.
Because they don't exist without each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, also because Michael B. Jordan played both. But, so yeah, there's a really interesting undercurrent of doubling that we don't, unless you really pick up, well, not that you have to pick up on it, but it's something that helps string that whole narrative together.
Yeah. And even the way it's framed, you could also put the doubling idea between the church that Sammy's dad preaches at and the juke joint.
Yes,
absolutely. They're always framed very similarly. They're shaped very similarly. The church is painted in white. The juke joint is always in dark wood. Like, and you can talk about how one is a place of actual religion and one is a place of music, which
is
in Sammy's case kind of becomes his own religion. Like,
well, and good and evil,
Yep.
right? This constant idea of the good, the evil, one doesn't exist without the other.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
The scene with the snake as well, because there's one comment was, so they go and the brothers and Sammy, they've picked Sammy up now and they're gonna go get the truck that they've stashed. You mentioned this a couple times.
Yeah.
And they've unburied the truck and there's Sammy moves a thing and there's a snake.
Yeah.
And Sammy doesn't know what to do with the snake. He just kind of panics. And it's Stack who kills the snake.
Yeah.
Stack gives Smoke the thing to kill the snake.
Yeah.
Smoke can kill things. Important note.
Yeah.
But they also talk about they've come back to Mississippi to face the devil you know, as opposed to the devil you don't. And the imagery of snake plus devil, so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and nice little touch too, to kill the snake. They don't kill it with a gun.
They stab it.
They stab it and wait for it to die. And that's eventually what you're going to have to do to a bunch of vampires. With wooden stakes instead of the snazzy brass knuckly knife thing that they have, which is kind of nifty.
Yeah, whatever that fun instrument of destruction and torture is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of fits into my definitely talking about the good and evil, right? These things don't exist without the other, but it's Smoke who stabs the snake.
Yeah. Foreshadowing.
Yay! So that was my big, let's talk about that. But,
Yeah. And I guess maybe it's maybe not a bad segue to talk about the vampire metaphor, because
I mean, it's outright, not just a metaphor, but yes, I know what you mean.
It's very forthright, but it also is like the vampire metaphor in this movie starts out very, very surface level, with it being, okay, the white folks are the vampires. They are, the ones that are now trying to get at kind of really anybody. You're not given the reason why. It's just they're vampires and they will do vampire things. That is sort of the reason you're given. They go to the juke joint. They need to be invited in. They're not invited in because they give bad vibes to Smoke and Stack.
Vibes are off, yeah.
Vibes are off. No, thank you. Okay, well, we're just gonna go way down here in case you change your mind. And as an audience, we know they're vampires. They're gonna wait for the moment to do vampire things, try and turn anybody that leaves, which they eventually do to Cornbread. Poor Cornbread.
He just had to pee.
What a way to go, man.
Yeah, rough time.
Not so much fun. But the vampire, as the movie goes on, and they start to have, they send Mary out. She's like, they have money. You guys are going to go broke. They're already yeah, we're not going to be able to keep this place open with the money that we have because people are spending their fake money on our Irish beer, which is very, very expensive, and French wine and whatever it is. And she's trying to make a good point of going look, if you're trying to make a go of this, you're going to go broke. You probably need to open this up. And because she's the one that can pass as white, she's going to go out. They'll talk to me. She gets the creepy vibes from them doing an even creepier song and cozying up to her, and then tries to leave. And you get one tiny little moment where Vampire Man hovers into the air really quickly, and then it cuts away, and you just are like, aha, okay.
Yeah, oh, he got her.
Mary cannot be trusted any longer, but eventually she does get back, and Cornbread lets her in because, oh, it's Mary, yeah.
Yeah, aren't you going to let me in?
And she really casually just is like, are you just going to stand there, or are you going to let me in? She's very, very smart about it because nobody else is clued in that they're vampires yet. And so she eventually gets in. She turns Stack after luring him with her feminine wiles.
Yeah, a lot of sex in this movie. I'm here for it.
This is a horny movie. Man.
How could it not be? Did you look at the cast?
Yeah, it's a very attractive set of people. There's all sorts of sex going on.
Lot of horny.
And then that is
good job, Ryan Coogler.
That is the catalyst for, okay, Mary's been let in, they've shot her, she gets right back up and runs out. Yeah. And Stack has now been turned, even though they just think he's dead and been bitten, and then they lock him in the place.
Well, and Annie's the smartest one in the whole fucking room, and no one's listening to her. She's like, we have to keep everybody inside.
Yeah.
And this body has to go outside. And Smoke is not willing to part with his brother. Which, I mean, fair enough. I can't imagine is an easy thing. But
however, they don't listen to her and kick everybody else out.
Yeah.
Inadvertently providing the vampires with an army.
Mistakes were made,
Mistakes were made. That is what happened.
I think that could be... most movies can be summed up by that.
Yeah.
You talked about the horniness. That's also very much a vampire trope, right?
Totally. So absolutely. Go from...
so well done.
The movie that this actually, in my head, I'm like, there's shades of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yep,
of
there
this.
sure is.
And From Dusk Till Dawn, an incredibly horny movie as well, in a very different capacity. But... yeah.
We'll have a good horny movie in this podcast.
And I think the vampire mythos, because, if you go back through some of the traditional things, the sex is pretty much there all the time, because in order to turn someone into a vampire, you have to get close enough to be able to bite them in the neck, which is a very intimate thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
it's just... this movie being horny is very, very vampire.
Very, very on brand. Very low lit. Lots of good music. Good times. And so then as the situation starts to evolve, and we now have the 6 or 7 of them that have barricaded themselves. Stack is now finally out, and they're like, okay, we need to prepare ourselves with all of the garlic, all of the wooden table legs. We are preparing ourselves to be overrun potentially, or waited out till sunrise. However, the vampires do keep making attempts to get in, and they're doing it by all of the people that have a relation to someone that's in there. So you have the husband, the Chinese husband, Bo, who comes up and just saying, "Oh, honey, I got the car going, we're ready to go. Go get our daughter." Da da da. As like cornbread is being devoured, or like
the cornbread is devouring the other guy
they toss out, and oh yeah, that's just fine. So you know immediately that it's not there. But then like you get the idea of like the collective conscience that the vampires now have, and like, I have turned your husband and now I have all of his memories. And as these people, you have like the black folks that have been turned, you have the clan folks that have been turned, you have, you know, the Chinese store owner that's been turned, and all of the stuff that the head vampire is starting to talk about. He does it a little bit to like get people's goat. A little bit
100%
like,
he does.
But then he also is starting to talk about like, you were sold a mill, but it's really a slaughterhouse. The folks that sold it to you are clan members, and they're coming to slaughter you later on. That's what their plan always was.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to happen. If you come and join us, we can prevent that from happening. You can live forever. And it's like, I think it's such a smart thing to do with the vampire mythology of the like, boy, this sounds really like you're being oppressed. I'm Irish. I'm being oppressed. I mean, at that point, Irish people were not well liked in America.
Correct.
At all. And you have all of these groups of people, and there's like little tiny undertones
of the
kumbaya type of thing.
Asian American folks
definitely
not having a good run. And they're not in this, but all of the Choctaw and the indigenous folks also not having a good time.
No. And because now this vampire that is an Irish vampire is suddenly turning a whole bunch of different people and now is collective memories. It's like, there's some very interesting like echoes of the modern condition of equality and a lot of these things that you're like,
Well, and for me that was very much, it's a doubling thing here again as well, because there is one scene towards the end where they're replaying the day of, and because we didn't see it until this point, and Smoke is playing the day of people coming.
Yep.
And all the people they've assembled to help build this. So Grace and Bo and all of them, Cornbread and Sammy, all of them that are there.
Yeah.
And it's this collection of primarily black folks, but some folks of color, particularly. And it cuts immediately into the scene of the white folks pulling up, the Klansmen pulling up the next day.
Yeah.
And it's so paralleled. It's the same kind of cars pulling up, people getting out, all that sort of thing, all going to this juke joint building, that I was like, oh, that's another interesting doubling. And I think it's Smoke who says we came back because we wanted to deal with the devil we know, not the devil we don't.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the narrative here of, hey, the devil you know is actually coming, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do, but look at the community we can build here. And this is really the undertone of the reason this juke joint exists, is the boys say this is for us.
Yeah.
This isn't somewhere where white people should be, rightfully so.
Yep.
It's community. And isn't music community? And there's food. They go and get all the catfish from Bo and Grace. Isn't food community?
Yeah.
Isn't church community? Aren't we offering you something that sounds so good instead of being killed at the hands of these asshole Klansmen? Assholes too nice.
Yeah.
But these, aren't. Look at what we can offer you. You can live forever and we can all be together.
Yeah.
And it seems, though they didn't really have a choice, Stack and Mary are very much in agreement because we're all family.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of they get to that point once they're both already vampires. And it's when they're inside and there's the big fight scene.
Yeah.
And Annie has already made Smoke promise her.
Yeah.
If I get turned, you stab me in the heart with wood, because take a stake to my heart, because I have somebody waiting for me on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's the baby, right? And so she says, you have to. You take me. That's it. And when he stabs her, Mary loses her shit.
Actually, all of them do.
And
all
then
the
they
vampires do.
all of the ones that, all the vampires that were part of the night before, of the night, right? They all lose it, and Mary screams because you've ruined it. We were all supposed to be together.
Yeah.
And now Annie won't be because you've released her soul. She's not going to be here forever. She's free.
Yeah. And I think there's something to that moment where all of the vampires that haven't been stabbed with a stake pretty much retreat when that happens. And I think you're right. I think it's very like, oh, if he's willing to do that, he's not buying into what we're selling. And it's the whole assimilation bad kind of thing, which is, I think, big point of it. But also I think there's probably a little bit in there of Annie being the person that she is, having the belief that she has, that like there was probably something in the collective conscience of that vampire going, this is maybe who we really wanted of everyone. Like, if we could turn anyone to our cause, Annie is the one that, like, if we can't get to her, then we need to go somewhere else because, like, we failed, and we want this person that has this, like, almost like spiritual, mystical knowledge that maybe can help them in some way.
Maybe I really read that as Mary, not the vampire, but Mary, the soul, being like, well, we could still all be together.
Yeah. And
isn't that good?
Yeah.
Don't we want that? But now you've ruined it because you've gotten rid of one of us, and the family will never be together, so now we have to do something else.
Yeah.
I had to look it up real quick. Hoodoo.
Hoodoo, yeah.
Is the spirituality, and that's what they attribute to Annie. It's a complex set of spiritual observances, traditions, and beliefs, including magical and other ritual practices, developed by enslaved African Americans in the southern United States from various traditional African spiritualities and elements of indigenous North America botanical knowledge.
Yeah. There you go.
It's often been syncretized with beliefs from religions such as Islam, Protestantism, Catholicism, and spiritualism. So again, we have I go back to my doubling, but
that tracks. Yeah.
So not voodoo, which I think is a similar but more Cajun situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A little bit different group of people. Both do have roots in West Africa.
Agreed. For sure. Yeah. I was like, well, I need to double check myself here, but yeah, and I mean, maybe they wanted Annie because Annie knows. They should have gotten Annie first because she knows. Yeah. Because she's the one who goes, whoa, no, which is great. She's ready to protect them. They're going to eat garlic. Perline, who is the one that Sammy likes, and the horny movie, Sammy. Yeah.
Who also sings
and is also beautiful.
Great song. Shout out Brittany Howard that wrote her song.
Love Brittany Howard. Yeah. They're passing garlic around because they need to make sure that none of them are vampires at this point. And Perline is reluctant to eat garlic just because she hates it. And they're like, you got to do it, man, or we're going to shoot you. Yeah. So she eats it and then makes a comment about how couldn't we even got the pickled garlic, which I kind of giggled at. You know what, Perline? This is maybe not the time to worry about preferences, sister. Yeah. You're all about to be dead. But... And it's that need to be invited in, and the way that they can play on people, and how hard they play on people, because you end up with Lisa losing her shit. Grace losing her shit. Yeah. Lisa's their daughter. Because they say, we're going to go back to town and get little Lisa. Yeah. And Grace loses her shit, and she goes, all right, come on in, you motherfuckers. No mistakes, Grace, mistakes. Yeah. So they do, and that's how we end up with the fight scene.
Balls to the wall, Grace.
I know.
Good job.
Grace is not fucking around, man. She had no time.
Yeah. She was also ordering Smoke around a little bit. It's like chastising him for being like, aren't you a soldier? Aren't you supposed to know when the shit's hitting the fan? Like...
Yeah. And then she dies in flame. Yeah. So there's that.
It happens.
It doesn't.
Well, in this movie, more than you would think on the norm. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was really like, I just love that as like a through line of, this isn't a vampire movie like you think it's going to be. And it really goes to a point where I was like, this is very interesting. Like, this is thought out. Whereas I think most times it's just like, vampire, gore, splatter, blood, and now occasionally sparkle. Like, it's not, like, the sparkly bit is just this is a metaphor for us doing our thing, and this is painful. But, like, this is something where, like, no, we're paying careful attention to the ethos.
Everything in this has careful attention paid to it. There's not a single part that's not. And since you mentioned it, and when you're talking, you said this is pays careful attention to the ethos, whatever. This is one I wanted to talk about. It's not the vampire movie you expect. This is a horror movie that isn't a traditional horror movie. Yep. And I did say to you, so anybody who's listened to this podcast or talked to me knows I hate jump scares.
Yes.
I have a coworker who scared me on Friday, and I lost years off my life. Quinn, if you're listening. But I don't do well with jump scares. And this is the very first movie for the pod, and even probably scary movie, quote unquote, that you and I have watched that you haven't watched first.
Yes.
So I was like, well, shit, this could get bad. There were a few jump scares.
There were jump scares in the opening scene, which you were like, oh, is this what I'm in for?
I was like, shit.
Yeah.
No.
And it wasn't even jump scares, it was jump cuts with the music cut to it that was like, yeah.
It's the sound. The sound is incredible. The film in this is cinematography in this is incredible as well. And so that's kind of the jumps at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you get a couple of other pseudo ones later, but there's not a lot of it. For a vampire movie, there's a lot of blood, but there's not a lot of gore. They do warn you about blood and gore scenes, and the vampires aren't very pretty.
Yeah.
It's not like a zombie movie. Don't do well with zombies either.
Yeah.
But it's a horror movie in the way that Get Out is a horror movie. I'm just gonna go back to ones we've done on the pod.
Silence of the Lambs, even.
In the way that Silence of the Lambs is a horror movie. They're horrible because these are humans essentially doing horrible things to other humans.
Yeah.
I realize the vampires aren't, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a monster, but the real monstrosity is humanity here.
Yeah.
Because racism is going to come kill them all the next day anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, there isn't really and in all of those movies that we've done, the real gory moments in Silence of the Lambs are hidden. Like the picture that Dr. Chilton shows, we don't see. When Hannibal Lecter's beating the one guard with the baton, you see blood splattering onto him, but you don't see the guard.
Oh yeah, if you go back and listen to that, that's the thing I like most about that movie is it's terrifying, but you don't have to see it.
And the closest you get to is the butterfly fillet of the one guard. Yeah. And even that is just you're looking at something, it's like looking at a Goya painting of something that's right, this is very gory and scary, but darkly beautiful in a lot of ways.
And same with Get Out, right? You really don't get a lot of the outright violence, the outright gore. Yeah. The only time is kind of the end scene when
you get a deer head spear and a shot to the head.
And that's kind of it, right? Yeah. And this movie is not far off of that.
No, but what you see is vampire bites.
You see vampire bites, you see neck wounds, and you see sort of whatever monstrosity grows from said vampire bite.
A little bit of burning. But again, it's not
and it's dark enough that it doesn't zoom in, right? It's dark enough that it's there, but you don't necessarily see it up close. Yeah. And it's not it's dark enough that it's not well lit enough, so that you're not it's not a focus point. Yeah. And because it's not a focal point, it doesn't feel as intense as other gore kind of horror movies do. Yeah. And this is very much a terrifying movie. But again, for me, similarly to the other two that we've watched and the only other scary movies we've ever watched together, it's not scary because jump scares and there's a monster. There is a monster, but the monster is also the human condition. Yeah. People are the scariest part of this movie.
Yes. The gore in this is a little reminiscent of a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Yeah, I could get down with that.
Yeah, because I watched his most recent one, Frankenstein, just on my own. It's there's a lot of gore in that. I mean, Frankenstein is the story it is, but gore is not the point. It's shown very matter-of-factly because that's who Del Toro is. He does that in a lot of his movies. But gore is not scary there. Gore in Frankenstein is a habit of the fact that Dr. Frankenstein is disemboweling bodies and putting one together. Yeah, it's very matter of fact.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing here, I think, in a way.
Yeah. No, it's a good call out because it's a horror movie in a certain tradition, but also it's a lot of other things wrapped into it, and really it only becomes a horror movie in points. There isn't really a moment where it's not very much signaled that this is a tense horror movie moment. No. You don't have ones where it's somebody walking through a house where you're really cringing around every corner. type of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not that kind of movie.
It doesn't have the suspense in that same sort of way. It does in a couple places, obviously, but it's not built like even the fight scene in Red Eye.
Yeah.
It's not built in that same sort of suspenseful thriller.
Right.
But I loved it because it's nice to watch a horror movie that isn't a horror movie.
Yes. Yeah. And it signals a lot of like the cinematography and part of the direction and the dialogue does a lot of the signaling that case. And one that you and I both had like a verbal reaction to.
I have a couple of cinematography notes, but I think I know which one you're going to say.
So the moment where they're about to have the big Grace yells at them and invite them in, come at me bro moment.
And the ratio changes.
The aspect ratio changes. And it goes from like being more of the wide screen, and I don't know the exact point of it, but like it basically goes from about 2.35 to 1.85, and really you get now everything. And I'd be interested, I haven't looked it up yet, but I'd be really interested to go back and see in any interviews with Ryan or with the cinematographer, with Autumn, if they're like, because that's a great moment for an impactful, there's going to be a lot in the frame here.
Yeah.
But also, like, I wonder if there's more to it than what they were like, this is the moment where something like this happens. Because once the fight is done, we're back to the wider widescreen aspect.
Yeah.
For the end of the film.
It just kind of feels like, hey, everything's opened up here.
Yes. And there are some other movies that I've seen it. I know we've seen it. Grand Budapest Hotel does this in spots. But a lot of times with that one, it's done because it's being told through history and certain parts of history where it was like a 4:3 closer to a square TV format. Like, so it's marking history through it. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I definitely want to do after we're done this is like, okay, now that we've talked about it and we're not spoiling any of our own opinions, like I want to go see if there's a discussion about that, because that's a great
dives.
moment.
Yes, yeah. We love a good deep dive in this podcast. Weird, I can't imagine.
Yeah, really a fun moment there.
The only other one I had to cinematography, other than the cuts at the beginning, which we've already talked about, is when Annie's talking to Smoke for the very first time, and she says that she prayed for him and Stack every day.
Yeah.
And this is both a cinematography choice and a bit of that memory playing again. You can see the sound starts to blur out. So does the camera work.
Yeah.
And she becomes the only thing that's really kind of in focus.
Yeah.
It's a really smart way of going, this is on her. Like, this is Annie's inside. Yeah. Right? Those are my, like, the cinematography in this movie is incredible across the board.
Yeah.
The aspect ratio changing that one and the cuts at the beginning, I was like, no notes. These are incredible. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Autumn, you deserve to win this. Well done.
Yes. Yeah, she did great with it.
Not that I didn't think she did, but
no. And it like the callback to that a few times, like the I lied to you sequence has that slight blurring.
It does too. You're right. Yeah.
There's the blurring of near the end when Smoke has been shot and is in the shootout with the Klansmen.
I like that he kills all of them. Fuck all y'all.
Just fuck all y'all. And like he has the moment where he sees Annie and the baby, and like that's where it comes back again, where it's that little transitional moment.
It becomes a color thing too, like the color of the film changes, or the scene. And then when Smoke is clearly passed on and is moving on to the next world, you see Annie, come here, you put that cigarette out. And this is my favorite part about the Smoke, because he's always smoking, but he finally puts the cigarette out so he can go be with his girls. I believe they indicate that the baby is female, but his wife and child. Yeah. Either way. Yeah. And they're going to go live on forever on the other side, away from all the other who, they ruined that community. Those two are there now, and Smoke and Stack are separated for the first time ever. Yeah. Yeah. And forever. Yeah. Since we're talking about the end a little bit, this is, I think, probably the right time to bring up the war, because this is the time where it like becomes completely crystal clear. Oh, it's abundantly apparent at this point.
So like the idea of, and again, we mentioned that about the Capone thing of you and I having slightly different, like,
which is why I love doing this.
Exactly.
We read things differently.
Yeah. And in, like, they make a lot of mention when they talk about you went up to Chicago. They'd mention about, like, you've robbed banks and stolen things in order to have a roulette and a craps table. Like, they're clearly something has gone on in Chicago that they don't like Chicago, but they're running from people they've clearly either stolen money from, stolen stuff from.
Mary, I think, is the one who says, you guys stole from both sides and blamed each other, and then you fucked off, basically.
Yeah.
So, and they're going to figure it out, and Stack says, no, they're not.
Yeah.
And they figured out they're all dead now, so what are they going to do?
And it's they are running a losing race in that case. Like, they will be found out.
Yeah,
for
they'll
sure.
find you.
And that's part of the reason why they, like, even when they realize they're like, oh, we're gonna lose money, like, this is not, no, we can't continue to be on the run or whatever it is. So, like, you get this indication of all of this, like, okay. In my head, I was like, they left Mississippi, went to Chicago, joined the gang, was part of Capone's gang war, got into some shit, stole money, robbed bank, whatever. Now they're back hiding, basically.
Okay.
The furthest possible place you could go. Because in that case, in the gang, they couldn't go to California, like a lot of people might have, because there's as much organized crime out there and connections to the big cities as anywhere else. They're from that area, so you wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, we'll go to Florida. They didn't go to Mexico because that wasn't really they were probably fugitives, so they likely wouldn't have, they may not have gotten there anyways. And so they get there and they're like, right, we're hiding, we're doing this, we are armed to the fucking teeth all the way through the movie. Like, they're shooting people to prove they're whatever. Like, they are the tough guys. And in my head, I'm like, they left because they wanted a better life. They got hardened by being gangsters and have come back. And the soldier bit is breadcrumbed all the way through. The one breadcrumb we haven't mentioned that comes in at the end is the trunk. Where somebody talks about, like, where they're like, oh, are we in trouble? Do I need to get the trunk? I think Stack says. And Smoke says, we're not going to need the trunk for this. And you don't see the trunk until the very end when the Klansmen come back. Just before that, Smoke is getting ready and he opens the trunk up. And it is machine guns from World War I with 2 steel helmets, all of this ammunition. And that's the, like, okay, they still have all of their munitions from being soldiers. They still have their helmets. This is their contingency plan. Yeah. For when anybody comes at them. They were probably thinking the Chicago gangsters coming at them very likely.
Or, the white asshole.
Yeah. But that's the moment, like, and he has the dog tags, so that's, I think, the point in my head where I was like, okay, he was a soldier, he has dog tags, you see way later on. But then the gun part was great because he hides in the cornfield or the cotton field around him, shooting up everybody that he can. Then when they see him, he runs away. He's buried a Tommy gun. Yeah. So this is the evolution of, like, the World War I guns. Now we have the Tommy gun from their era of being gangsters, and that's when he lays waste to pretty much everybody else, getting shot in the process, which is why he's eventually gonna, die. Go be with Annie. Not before going full fucking Bonnie and Clyde on the the guy he bought it from and just Hogwood. Absolutely riddling Hogwood with bullets in a big old flare. Yeah. My note actually says Hogwood getting shot. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. The comeuppance is fully there. But like that was a thing that didn't necessarily need to be in the movie that tells you a lot. Yeah, and I loved it. I think it's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wonderful. I picked up on the soldier thing earlier, I think, but for me it was like, I think said this earlier, it was when Annie and Smoke are together the first time and she talks about praying for them in the war, and my brain went war. Yeah. So, yeah. Even threw a grenade in one of their vehicles. Yeah, fucking delightful. You want to talk about being soldier? Oh, here, just have this gift. I did write here, too, I love a good revenge narrative. Because I do. I listen to female revenge music on my way into the office every day for fun. Mm-hmm. Set the tone of my Monday. But it's great. It's time, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, for me, I'm going to pick up on revenge narrative. Mm-hmm. That's kind of, I don't want to say that's the movie itself is not a revenge narrative. Mm-hmm. But
there's a lot of revenge, like the revenge of killing all of the Klansmen.
Yeah.
But also the revenge of like continuing to live well, I think. Like the revenge for Smoke is that, yeah, he's dead now, but he gets to go be with the two people who mattered most to him other than his brother.
Yeah.
And there's a certain level of like the community / revenge, I think, for even the vampires. Like Mary and Stack get to be together.
Yes.
Despite the fact that, and they're going to live together forever until somebody maybe sets one of them free.
Yeah.
As vampires. But that's, if they hadn't been turned, who knows? And maybe even if Smoke hadn't died the way he did, if they had just all still been in the juke joint and the white clans fuckers showed up and killed them all,
Yep.
none of them would have had that ability.
Yep.
So I'm not saying I want to be a vampire and live forever, but I feel like that maybe is a form of revenge. Like, they say the best revenge is living well. Obviously, none of them are alive anymore, but in the way that their souls have lived on in whatever way that kind of looks, did they live?
Yeah.
Did they get revenge?
Yeah.
And they killed all the white guys on the way out, so all the Klansmen are gone.
All the Klansmen are gone. All the...
not all of them, but all the ones that showed up to do the murdering that morning.
The ones in this movie, if they killed all the Klansmen, there might not be a lot of population left in Mississippi at that point in history. So, did not. And good segue.
I'm good at those. You're welcome.
Into... I was trying to think of this after the movie. This movie might have the best post-credit scene yet.
I said that. Yep. I think it's the best post-credit scene, period. In fact, my note is, what a post-credit scene, hey?
Yeah. So, the end of what basically happens is you have Smoke getting shot, shooting everybody else, dying, passing onwards to be with Annie and his little one. You then have Sammy, who is essentially the only non-vampire still alive that has gotten away with his half guitar because he smashed his pedal steel guitar over the vampire with the steel in the middle of it, right through his head.
Yep.
Gotta love it. And then the sun comes up and Vampire Man burns to a crisp.
Yeah, and I kind of read that as there being some silver in that too.
That's exactly what it is. That's why those guitars sound the way they do, because the silver in it resonates.
There you go.
Oh,
my music nerd husband. It's so helpful.
Here you go.
Sorry.
So
continue.
he still has the neck of the guitar that he's holding onto and not letting go of. And he drives back, because it's now daytime. He is supposed to be in church with his dad, helping with the sermon, recite one of the Corinthians from earlier. And you see, this is a revisit of that scene, because this is the first scene in the movie, where he walks in, bloodied, scars on his face, and his father is like, put down the guitar, renounce the sin, blah, blah, blah. So you go back to that scene now with all the knowledge of what's just happened. He's been scratched because of the vampire, and Sammy doesn't let go of the guitar. He walks out of the church rather than be part of, what his father wants him to be, to stay in town, to be... carry on his, church probably. And Sammy says through the whole movie that he wants to do what Smoke and Stack did, to leave. He doesn't want to be part of the small town. He doesn't want to be preacher's son.
Which is such a small town thing to do. I'm ready to get the hell out of here.
But he holds on to the guitar and drives away until you get one quick cut going to 1992.
Yes.
And then you see Buddy Guy in makeup on his face to mimic the scars, and he is playing on stage with a blues band. And I mentioned the guy Chris Catfish Ingram. He's one of the guys on stage with him playing guitar. He's the chubby guy that is like, this guy.
I mean, I was too caught up. He's
a very young, already legendary modern blues
love it
guitarist. So like they have that moment, and it's like oh, okay, Sammy went on to be Buddy Guy. Cool, that's really fun. And then the credits start a little bit, and then you get a little more.
Yeah, Sammy's sitting at the bar. He's clearly an older man, like an old man now.
Yeah.
And somebody comes in and says, "Hey boss, you've got 2 out here. I told them they couldn't stay, but they paid $100 so they could come in and see." He said, "Yeah, it's fine, let them in." Yeah. And in walks the 1992 versions of Mary and Stack.
Yeah. In all the proper fashion.
So 1992, it's so good.
I think Mary had leg warmers. And like
yeah.
the crop top.
And he's got the flat top haircut.
And like the Coogie, I don't know how to say it, the sweater that like was right out of a early 90s Spike Lee movie.
Yeah, it's pretty perfect.
And the glasses, like, fantastic. But it then has this like moment or kind of coda to the movie of like, and you're right, talking about like the Mary and Stack have now gotten to live forever, but to a point where a white woman and a black man can be together and it be tolerated, and eventually down the road would be much more normal. I mean, in the modern day, I don't know that in a lot of places it would be turned to second thought to, except for some.
I think I think there's more covert racism about it now than there is overt.
Yes.
No one's making them actively at this moment in time go to separate bathrooms, for example.
There's still some prejudice there, but they're not like walking into a room and getting shot at.
No, that's fair. And Mary's not white, but white presenting, right? Right,
mm-hmm.
Passing.
So they go in and, Sammy, buddy guy, realizes instantly, as soon as he hears that come on in, it's like, oh shit. Because he's now been traumatized by this very clearly.
Well, and he's like, they've come for me. I'm a man in my 70s now, at least.
And they're not there to do that. They're just there because they've followed Sammy around. He's now a famous musician. They say, we have all your records now.
Well, and he's playing at Pearline's, which is great.
Yeah.
That's the woman he loved in the movie, or in the earlier time. But, Stack is clearly still his big cousin.
Yeah.
And still loves that he's doing that he's done well, because that's all you get the impression that's kind of all they ever wanted for him.
Yep.
Right? Because their dad was shitty. Mm-hmm. And he's the brother of Sammy's dad. And they were like, oh, our uncle was always okay. He never laid his hands on you. But it was clear that their father beat them all the time. Yeah. And so they kind of have always been his protector from the get-go. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of watching over. I think Stack's kind of watching from a distance to make sure he's all right. Yeah. Smoke's long gone. Yeah. But he said, because you think that Smoke has stabbed Stack, and it cuts away from that. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I guess I was the one person he couldn't kill. Yeah. Because they needed each other. Mm-hmm. But he made me promise to stay away from you. Yeah. And it's just a really poignant, family still matters. Yep. And they offer to bite him. Yep. So you can join us if you want. It's not they're not the malicious part of it's gone. Yeah, and you can come live with us. You can live forever if you want. And he says, nah, I think I've seen enough of this world. Seen enough of it, which is very, very funny. And very accurate. And given Buddy Guy, who is still making music, still performing. He was at that Oscar performance. He was, yeah. Yeah. And it's this nice little nod to the cultural tradition, and having, somebody in there that carries weight in that was really interesting. And actually makes it's not setting up a sequel, which I think so many post-credit scenes, that's what they're there for. The Avengers. Or to have an outtake. We watched The Proposal, and the outtake was my favorite part of the whole movie. Sweet. I recall. But that's typically how they're used. Mm-hmm. And the setup a sequel, I think, is so really, it's we have to do this? Overdone and brutal. But this is just, when we talk about this movie opening up the veil between the past and the future, that's what this is. This is coming full circle. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, it's very smart. Whole movie's very smart. And then there's the very post-credits credit scene, which is just young Sammy playing this little Light of Mine on his guitar in the church. Yeah. And then it cuts, and that's it. Which may honestly have just been a sound take to be like, hey, Sammy, we're going to do this scene. Can you just sit down and play something? I think it was. Or it is actually a cut scene, one of the two. But yeah, it's great. Yeah. Loved it. Yeah, it's good fun. And I mean, it ends on Miles Caton, who I actually think, and I don't necessarily think that the Oscars were incorrect with this, but I kind of think that the main character of this movie is actually Sammy. Yeah.
Like, everything is sort of there revolving around Sammy. Like, I think the camera follows Smoke and Stack pretty clearly. And I think in terms of, like, awarding a leading performance, when you look at that, like, the Oscars are not wrong. Michael B. Jordan is the leading actor of the movie, for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, as part of a story, in sort of the same way that, like, we talked about with All About Eve, how, like, this is kind of Addison DeWitt's story by the end.
Yeah.
Pretty at the early on, but also you realize near the end, it's like Sammy is the main character.
This has been Sammy's story. He's the main protagonist. He may not be the lead actor, but he's the main protagonist.
Yeah.
This is Sammy's story.
Yeah.
Because Sammy's story is the only one that got to continue for real.
And I think that probably tells you a bit about why they did the sound the way they did, because if Sammy is the vessel by which the music can come through and broach the barriers between living and dead, past and present, that sound going on is probably Sammy hearing it at those times. And, like, you hear the constant music because he's always grabbing his guitar and picking away. He's always ready to sing, riff off of Slim, whatever it is. Like, he is, a lot of movies have done this too, where you hear musicians and they just will always hear a constant tick or a constant something.
Yeah.
That's, like, going on, or the melodies are just rattling around in their head. And I think it's one of the things that the movie does so well is, like, yeah, this is framed around this character, and so it will be done as such and such. Like, if it were Smoke and Stack that were really the main characters of it, there's probably a lot more paranoia that goes on in it. There's probably a lot more, like, maybe jump scares or a lot of flashing back to memories of Chicago. Like,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you don't get any of that because it's not their story.
Yeah.
It's they're part of the story. It's Sammy's story.
Big part of the story, for sure. But yeah, Sammy and his, well, it's not his uncle's guitar anymore, but
it's Sammy's guitar.
Sammy's guitar now. But yeah, good stuff. And all the more, like, kind of all the more amazing that they got an unproven actor going in his first time to anchor this movie.
It's incredible. Again, the casting in this, no notes. It was so well done. And everything is just, it's meh. It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't believe we waited as long as we did. I can't believe we hadn't seen it. I'm so glad we've seen it. If you have gotten through this podcast and haven't seen it, I'm sorry for the spoilers. Please go watch it.
Yeah, even if you know, still an
and even if you've
watch.
seen it, go watch it again. It's so good.
Yeah, it's very, very good. It's up there with one of the best movies I saw last year, for sure.
Same.
Yeah. Real good. I'm very interested to see what kind of a bunch of people do next, because, like, Michael B. Jordan already was a pretty big star.
But this is
big. Ryan Coogler, also a pretty big deal, was doing Black Panther, was doing the Creed movies, had done Fruitvale Station, which is an incredible film with Michael B. Jordan as well.
But I think more people know their names now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And any of these actors, including the one who played Sammy for the first time.
I am very intrigued to see what Miles Caton does.
If he does anything.
Yeah. And we have mentioned one person, not necessarily by name too much, a little bit by character. A much needed bit of comedic relief in Delroy Lindo. Oh,
I actually have a note that says Slim is my favorite character.
He is great and is given some really fun moments of, like, the garlic eating scene right after Perline, like, doesn't want to, and everybody's like, "Are you a vampire? Do the fucking thing, Perline." And then, like, Slim takes it without any hesitation, but starts choking as if he might be a vampire too. And he is then just like, No, I'm too drunk. Hang on. Oh, it's past now. Okay, like it's set up as, like, he is the lush performer that is just drinking corn whiskey for the rest of his days.
Yeah, no, he's great. I don't want to give away all of his hilarity. He's really well done.
Yeah.
Do watch it for Slim as well. But I loved this movie. I would probably say of the 20 movies we've watched together in this pod, it's my top 3.
Yeah, that's bold statement, but also fair.
There's a lot of really good movies we've watched, but it's up there. Excellent. Well, friends, that was Sinners.
That was Sinners.
Go, atone for your sins and watch this movie.
Yes, if you want a good, horny vampire movie,
do it now.
I feel like that's doing this film a super disservice
Yeah,
to say, if you want a good, horny vampire movie, check out Sinners.
But also accurate. All right, well, that concludes today's, I think. But we're excited because we're coming back in episode 21, back to the regular format.
Yes.
And I can't believe you haven't seen Norma Ray.
Yeah, me neither.
It's
How
so good.
exactly? I know a little bit about why that is currently, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We've got the DVD. We're going to get a chance to do that next. So
I'm excited to return. In the meantime, thanks everybody for listening. If you want to check us out on Instagram or on I Can't Believe You Haven't Seen on the socials. I Can't Believe You podcast at gmail.com if you want to email us.
Yep.
And Matt has his own podcast about physical media.
Cinema on a Shelf. Same thing on Instagram and everywhere the podcasts are. We watched the 4K for Sinners. It looked fucking great.
Yes, we always have a physical version of these movies. And yeah, until next time, thank you so much for listening. It's been a real slice for 20 episodes. Can't wait to see what we do for 20 more.
Thank you, everybody, and see you next time.
Take care.